Guys, welcome to the live webinar. Obviously, this is our first one inside the mind of a funded trader. And today is not about hype, showing off profits, guys. It's about understanding how a funded trader actually thinks, manages risk, and stays consistent. So we're breaking down like the process over P&L. So today we've got Daniel Staniland with us, over $36,000 withdrawals, but more importantly, someone who's actually figured out how to stay consistent in this space. And guys, just want to mention, if you do stay on the webinar, we'll be giving away 5 free 10K two-step challenges and giving everyone access to a massive discount code at the end, which will be valid for 48 hours. So be sure to stick around. And yes, without further ado, welcome, Daniel. So
How are you?
yeah, pretty good, mate. Pretty good. So Dan, for the people who don't know who you are, where are you from? How old are you and how long have you been trading?
So obviously, I'm from Derby. I've been trading now. It's a good 2 years. Like I say, it's been a journey, but I'm definitely seeing a real steady progress now. And I just put it down to consistency of just applying the same strategies over and over and being disciplined.
Yeah, you're definitely one of our most consistent traders, And how long have you been with us total?
Oh God, it's flown. I think Are we coming close to a year? Maybe 8 months, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, because I remember first interviewing you and it was like, it was like five, your first pay was like 5K. And then all of a sudden I just seen that you've just been making some steady withdrawals. So congratulations on that. So talk to us about how you actually got into trading, mate.
The short story of it is obviously I'm a single dad of two, and obviously I had to take a massive hit on my wages at work to be a full-time father. So I kind of knew I had to do something to get a secondary income, and I tried my hand at a few things, didn't really take to them, and then I found trading. And I always say I put it down to I was very lucky that I came across a mentor that was willing to show me and willing to really guide me through, and not one of these fake gurus who promises you £1 million and all that. He was very
Mm.
straightforward that it was going to be one of the hardest things I ever do, but one of the most rewarding. And then it's just been steady progress. So obviously, my mentor didn't want me to trade with real money. So what he did is first 3 months, it was all demo accounts and getting used to risk reward and stop losses and just doing the basics. And it's snowballed from there, really. It basically, I just wanted to make enough money to live for me and the kids. And what happens is you start noticing steady profits. And before you know it, you think, I can make a go of this. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at now.
Yeah, nice, mate. Well done. So did you fail challenges before passing?
Yeah, of course. Now I don't know anybody. I mean, you must be a real pro if you've gone in and doing it straight away because I must have failed at least probably three on the VADs.
Yeah, okay. So what kept you going?
I think it was the fact that each time I got closer and each time there was something that I knew was missing. So it was kind of just, each time was a learning curve. And
Yeah.
then obviously what I did is what a lot of people don't like to do. And this is why I think it separates profitable traders from traders that just never get anywhere, is they never hold themselves accountable. They'll blame the rules or they'll blame this and they'll blame that, when really, if you really take a look at where it goes wrong and you fine tune the edge, I think that's when you see your results. When you can look in the mirror and say, no, you're wrong. You've got to be better.
Yeah, brilliant. So what changed, do you think, from those early struggles to where you are now?
Honestly, what's changed? I think you just grow as a trader if you don't give up and you actually, listen to the right people. Like I say, I mention him a lot, but my mentor is so he's the reason I'm here today, sat here talking to you guys with £36,000 worth of payouts, because each time I needed somebody to be there and hold me accountable, he did. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He will say you're wrong. You've got to take it on the chin and you've got to go back and you've got to keep going. And I think that's what trading's about. It's not how you handle your wins, it's how you handle your losses. That is
Yeah, I
for
think,
me.
progress with is not linear with anything. It's not just a straight line, it's dips. And I think trading is probably one of the most bumpy things you can do, essentially, in terms of a linear line. Talk to us about what you look for first. Number one, what's number one thing you look for?
So for me, I'll tell you the truth. My biggest successes, I think we discussed this before, is the Asia market. For me, it's like gold when it's on a when it's going up. I just it's again it's a price action feeling. It's like when I see the momentum kicking in, I like to trade the Asia highs, and I almost think I can kind of set my bar and think I think it's probably going to land around here, and then sometimes it'll be just one trade the day and I'm done.
What sort of concepts you use as well? Do you use like, smart money concepts? Do you use sort of like IFVG liquidity sweeps? What do you do in terms of that?
Liquidity sweeps is a big one for me. I've found with gold, with the upwards trajectory that it's been on for God, we're talking a couple of years now. It's just been going, 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 going. I do like when it drops because when it's a really what I call a fast-paced drop, and I'm not talking anything off the fundamental news. I'm just talking where out of nowhere it goes.
I didn't really like RSI but I'd seen a guy on YouTube trading it and he's like live and he's really good at it. So I was kind of like, oh, maybe actually that is a that is a thing. I remember when I first started, I did that, and yeah. So
Yeah,
you swear by RSI then?
100% because when obviously with my mentor. When he's seen some of my gold trades, he's like, where's that come from? Like, even he's like, well, where did you spot that? And then what I've done is I've screenshotted on it's been on my relative strength index indicator is on MetaTrader, so it's good because for me, I've got what I need right there, and I can execute as quick as that. It's not I'm not flicking between the two. It's like right, this is out. And that one, that for me, when people say an A-star setup where they feel so confident, where they just go, it's in. That's mine. When it really goes really goes out of the chart, and I mean a real diagonal line, I know it's got to pivot at some point. And for me, it's about being patient enough to just let that run its course, and then it'll.
So let's talk about now. As the RSI is right below where it's off the chart, like you said, you're
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like going off the computer, right? So
yeah.
let's talk a little bit to that. Now, what you obviously explained that what you do with the range and stuff in Asia. Do you trade towards that? And talk to me about your entry model.
You've helped me there. You've prompted me well. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I want it to be set. So for me, I mean, I've been up. I find the busiest times with Asia, what I mean with my back testing, 11 p.m. UK time, it starts to give an inkling of how it's going to go. So if it's going to move towards the upside, it gives you kind of clues. But for some reason, and if people are out there, do the same. 1 a.m. Watch 1 a.m. the first hourly candle, and that
This is
gives you
UK time, right? Just to clarify,
yeah,
UK time.
UK
Okay.
time. You will see Asia will give you a big clue. Now, for me, I like to trade when I think Asia has set the low or the high, because what I like to do is if you imagine you're going over a hill and then it comes back down and it's gone that far through that I want to be going at this point, and then I want it to be coming like that. And then what I do, I never get greedy. If I know I've hit the high or the low, I don't think, oh, it's going to go all the way back to mid range of the session. And this has worked for me a lot. I'll probably set my TP at about a quarter of the way that I think it's going to go, and that's it for me because I think
Yeah.
you can get too greedy. So if I even if it, I have seen this where it's set the high and then all of a sudden it's gone. No, I'm going to set the real low this time, but that's not my business. My business is about securing the move that I want, and then I'm out the markets. I'm done.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is your risk reward ratio? Is it 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3,
My favourites are 1 to 3.
one
One
to
to
three?
three. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What about your
With that.
stop loss? Do you move your stop loss up? Are you one of those guys that's like, right, it's gone 1 to 1 or 1 to 2, I move it up, or you just leave it and it's
And because obviously I still feel that I speak to a lot of traders that have been in this game almost a decade, and I feel like a baby in the space, and I'm not putting myself down. I respect this profession. I respect what they do and what they've gone through. So for me, I'm still at the beginning of my journey. At the start, you do get to a point where you was moving stop losses, but where I find consistency is if I go with my 1 to 3 at the end of the day, and I think I've heard yourself say it, I can be wrong twice, right
yeah.
once. I'm
Yeah.
profitable. I'll give you an example of how trading can change. I mean, I think we're all experiencing it at the moment with the uncertainty and that the mad bloke that's in charge at the moment. He's just, he'll say one thing and then he'll be reporting something else. In the last 3 weeks, my mentor, he was scratching his head. He's like, I've never known anyone do this. So what I've been doing, while I've been, because I've been kind of cautious, because I'm not feeling any rhyme and rhythm with my strategy at the moment. But what I've been doing is I've been going in my personal account once a week, and I've been putting a decent amount as a deposit, and I've waited all week, and then I've just waited for one setup that feels right to me, and then I'll be watching it through the day, and I'll go, this has gone way out the RSI, and I've just had one move. And do you know what? In the last 3 weeks, the profits that I've made by just having one trade a week, I'm really impressed. Like, it shows you can change your strategy as long as you're still disciplined. You can still make a good amount, but it's just about right. The markets don't feel right, so change it up, but still don't deviate from your risk and your psychology. It just shows you can do different things, but still stay true to yourself.
So today I'm going to give you guys a quick overview, fundamentally of everything that's been happening so far this week and really what's about to come. So a lot of the data has been centered around inflation and consumer strength. We've had inflation prints out of Canada, New Zealand, and the key takeaway there is that inflation is still holding. It's not really dropping off as quickly as central banks would like. Then on the US side, we had retail sales, which actually came in strong. So the US consumer is still spending, which tells us the economy is still relatively resilient. And in the UK, the labor data showed a bit of softness, which just highlights that growth is a bit mixed right now. So overall, from the data alone, inflation is still sticky and growth isn't exactly strong. So now really looking ahead, we've had some data come in on Thursday fundamentally with UK CPI, and then we have PMI data for this Friday, which you should be aware of, and retail sales to really just close the week. And of course, I'm really focused on a high impact news that could really cause volatility in the markets. So, but outside of the data, what's really moving on the market right now is the geopolitical situation, especially around the US and Iran. There's been a lot of mixed messaging, as you guys seen in the Discord, if everyone's on there. On one side, there's talk of potential negotiations and progress, but on the other side, Iran is still holding a strong stance, around nuclear enrichment and an ongoing blockade, which US, Trump says has control over. So the situation isn't resolved. It's just really uncertain. Now, the key thing is this is obviously impacting oil, right? Even with hope in the market, oil prices are still trading relatively high. And that's important because higher oil feeds directly into inflation, right? So we've already seen the effects of this in different economies. The UK is a good example. We just read some on the news recently where rising energy costs are starting to put pressures on businesses and margins. For instance, I saw someone on the news where the UK said it's running out of jet fuel, right? So we know what that means for prices when you're flying. So holidays might be a little bit less this summer. But so when you tie this back to central banks, the market has been expecting rate cuts. But if oil keeps inflation elevated, it becomes much harder for central banks, especially the Fed, to actually cut rates, right? Um, as you know, like Jerome Powell's stance for the Fed in the last few months has kind of been neutral, right? And of course, with elevated prices from oil, which obviously affects inflation, it's more likely that, you know, they aren't going to pull the plug and actually cut in rates. Um, so right now, markets are kind of being pulled in two directions. On one side, you've got hope, talks, potential rate cuts, pushing stocks higher. On the other side, you've got reality, which is inflation and oil, which is still a risk underneath. So just to round this off, right? One key thing to keep in mind is that we also have the upcoming interest rate decision from the Federal Reserve. So alongside everything happening geopolitically with oil inflation and supply shocks, this becomes even more important now, right, guys? So, because if tension continue to push energy prices higher, that feeds directly into inflation expectations and ultimately influences how the Fed approaches rate cuts or holds. So, it's not just about geopolitics in isolation, it's how this feeds into monetary policy coming next week or in the calendar, right, as you guys will see. So, that's definitely something to stay aware of going into the next few days. So now I think this is a good chance to pass over to Liam, which will be breaking down some of the technical perspective. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, uh, I'm Liam, the internal trader here at Traderscale. Going to run through some of my favorite pairs to trade, show you some technical analysis behind the positions I've taken recently, some potential scenarios we could see play out in the near future. I'm going to share my screen now. This might pop up in a new window for you guys, or it might just stay inside of Zoom. So it does pop up in a new window, you'll have to locate it. Just going to share my screen now. Okay, everyone should be able to see my screen now. So we're going to start with pound dollar. It's one of my favorite pairs to trade. So first of all, one of the trades I've recently taken was on this large Fibonacci. We saw price move down from here, hit the 38.2 where I looked to take a trade, and I took a trade from here, which has currently progressed higher. From there was another Fibonacci we could draw. This is how I knew where to actually close my trade out, is I usually use another Fibonacci to find where I want to close my trade. So we extended this position from the 38.2 up to the 61.8, and this is where we actually exited the trade and took a new trade. From there, we're sort of looking for price to move back down from here as the dollar sort of gains strength again. So I'm looking at a trend line at the moment, not this one, this trend line. Sort of looking for price to move down here towards this trend line, hopefully have it in confluence with 1.33. So I'd look for it to aim for the trend line to hit round here, and then I'd look to take a buy position. It's a potential scenario. If we do see the war sort of get a bit better with Iran and the US, we may see price extend higher towards these highs up here, which I'll mark out for you guys, up here around this level. Moving on to pound New Zealand dollar. And last but not least is oil. Oil is not something I particularly trade very much, but with recent times, it's been something quite good to trade. At the moment, there's a 61.8% Fibonacci, which is currently provides a reaction from. This is also in confluence with where the market's closed and then created a gap. And we often see when markets gap, they tend to like to close the gap. So this acts as a resistance level at the moment, as it's a gap lower. So this is a potentially good trade to take, or we may see a strong reaction from. And on the other side of things, if we see things get better with the US and Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is reopened, we will see most likely a strong reaction with oil moving further down as prices start to correct themselves again. But if we do see the war sort of prolong, we may see prices look to challenge current highs. And that's everything for at the moment for the charts.
Well, thanks for that, Liam. Guys, we've got a little bit of a Q&A session now, which you guys have asked about Traderscale from the people that have joined. So we've had one from Victor. Do you have accounts that have no consistency rules? And the answer is to that, yes. Our two-step challenge has no consistency rule and even a free retry on phase 2. And many more benefits like static drawdown and increased leverage. So yeah, there is one available there for you.
Yeah, so we also had another question from Mary Jane. Her question was, is there any hidden rules for funded accounts? So the answer is no. All of our rules are visible at all times when purchasing accounts in a help center, in the emails you receive, in your contract you sign before your account is enabled for trading, and also in the video format in your trading area, right? So unfortunately, some of our rules cannot be monitored in real time. However, we welcome traders to request a review of their account at any time to check.
So we've had another one from Austin as well, who's asked, how can you spot a legitimate or illegitimate prop firm? So trust is the main thing here, guys, in the prop firm industry. You can see legitimate prop firms based on their Trustpilot reviews, obviously sponsorships like ours with sports teams like Sunderland, payouts being tracked on the blockchain, and I'm pretty sure there's not many that do that. And interviews, obviously, with traders who've successfully received payouts on YouTube, whether they showcase and whether they showcase their rules. So yeah.
Yeah, so another question that's come in from Joe is how much has Traderscale paid their traders, right? So we paid almost $6 million, all verifiable on the blockchain at traderscale.com/payouts, and everyone can see that. So, yeah, thank you guys.
So that's a wrap for today. So again, for the people here, thanks for tuning into the live webinar. And don't forget, these are going to be every 2 weeks. So if you're serious about coming consistent, guys, these traders that we're inviting on, these are our finest traders. These are our best traders. So, jumping on these may help you get to where you need to be. And learning, taking value from the very best, like I said. So as promised, guys, thank you for tuning into our first webinar again. And your special gift code is 50% off, and you can use it. It's webinar 50 at the checkout for 50% off any challenge. And our winners for the free 10K two-step challenges are Andy Stratton, David Mitchell, Joe Reeves, Lee Bauer, and Mel Lockyer. So please contact the support team at support@traderscale.com, and we will cross-reference that with the registered emails for the webinar to add your free account. So that's it from us today. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and catch you soon.